Welcome to the March edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen.
Coming up in the next half hour, we'll carve up some amazing creations in ice. We'll meet the new mayor of Oakdale, and we'll see how construction is coming along at the White Bear Lake Library.
All that and more is straight ahead on Northeast Journal. Hello everyone, and welcome to the March edition of Northeast Journal. I'm your host, Joe Cullen. Every month on Northeast Journal, we give you an inside look at the people and places that make up the northeast section of the Twin Cities. Several months ago, the Ramsey County Library location in White Bear Lake closed down for renovations. We were recently given the chance to see how the construction is coming along and to see a time capsule be placed in the building. Let's check it out.
So excited to be here. I haven't been for a while, so the progress is dramatic. I think the most exciting thing for me is the natural light in the building, and the windows are really beautiful.
A library is the heart and soul of a community, and it's access to information that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get somewhere else. Rooms that we have over here where you can have a book club, you can have a meeting, you can have it as a study space. It really meets the needs of all of the community, and it's open access.
We're here to put in a time capsule in the White Bear Lake Library. We have 7 libraries in the Ramsey County Library System, and this is the only one that's had a time capsule in the past.
We wanted to make sure that just as we had the joy of opening the one from 40 years ago, that in the future someone will have the joy of opening this one.
We're putting the time capsule in the fireplace behind the Carnegie plate from 1914, which is pretty exciting.
We want to make sure that people understand that this is a new beginning, but we've got a lot of history and there's more to come.
April 11th, we're having our grand opening. Everybody is welcome to come. Congratulations!
Most of us feel brave if we even venture outside our homes during this cold Minnesota winter. But hundreds of people decided to not only go outside on a recent Saturday, they plunged into the frigid waters of White Bear Lake, all for a good cause. Producer Mary Klein and photographer Nick Anderson have the story.
Our chilly Friday morning right now, and you get to see the plunge site from its initial stages, and it's kind of interesting, like you said, when you guys come out tomorrow and you actually see kind of the carnival atmosphere that's in the air. It's a good contrast as to how this all gets set up. I mean, you see the barren ice right now. By tomorrow when the decking is put up and you see the plunge site set up, you see the bear inflated, you see the warming tunnel all inflated. You kind of get a whole new perspective on it. This has always been the first plunge of the Polar Plunge season for Special Olympics, and it's just a good kickoff for us to start looking at the number of plungers who are registered online as of this morning. I mean, 1,400 plungers for the White Bear Plunge alone. Already donations collected online is at almost $200,000.
Come on out and get cold and wet.
So thankful and so proud of our law enforcement people. Not only do they put their life on the line every day, but you see them out here on days when normally they would take off or do whatever, and they are out doing this for us. And, you know, shoot, my hats are off to them always.
men and women of law enforcement are brave. They're here year after year taking the plunge. But what about the rest of the people? Are they brave too, or simply crazy?
We are the number one in the state. So we're finally going to get a sighting. I'm not going in, so I think she's crazy. A lot of superheroes.
It's time for a short break. We'll be right back with an interview with the new mayor of Oakdale, Stan Karwoski.
Hey Greg, what are you doing in the bushes?
Oh, nothing. Just doing some bird watching, yeah.
You know, this doesn't seem like such a great place for bird watching.
All right. I was just trying to get a look inside my city hall. I don't know any other way to get information.
Greg, you're such a silly man. You don't have to be a creepy spy. Why don't you just watch GTN?
GTN?
Yeah, GTN, the Government Television Network. It's on cable channel 16. They got a ton of information of everything that's going on in the 12 different communities in the northeast suburbs of Ramsey and Washington County.
No kidding. So you mean I can get all this information by watching channel 16 at my own home?
You better believe it. And they've got all their shows on their website too. That's gtn.org.
Wow, I should go check out channel 16 right away.
Hey, what are you guys doing over there? Government Television Network. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/GTN16.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. Since the late 90s, one constant in the city of Oakdale was their mayor, Carmen Serac. This past fall, he decided not to run for re-election, and a new mayor was elected in November. Stan Karwoski won the election, and he's here for his first interview on Northeast Journal as the mayor of Oakdale. And Mayor, I want to welcome you to Northeast Journal today and congratulate you on your victory in November. And for viewers who aren't familiar with you, you were a longtime city council member before that.
Right.
And can you just give us a little bit of your background, where you're from and what you did prior to being mayor?
Right. Well, thank you, Joe, for having me. Grew up on the east side of St. Paul. A lot of Oakdale residents have migrated from the east side of St. Paul, and there's a lot of multi-generational residents in Oakdale that have been there second generation, so that's exciting too. I grew up on the east side, went to Harding High School, got married someone from high school, started a family, kind of needed that second house, wanted to move to the suburb, and Oakdale 28 years ago. We moved to Oakdale, and we had 2 children at the time. We grew to 4. Was the typical resident, nice, vibrant, growing community. You know, had the kids in youth sports, finding their way through the good 622 school district at Eagle Point and Skyview Middle School, and things were going good, and doing coaching, doing the typical parent things. And then I said, you know, I think I'd like to really get on that Park and Rec Commission. And put in several years there, and stepped back from it, seeing if I would miss it, and said, you know, I do miss that public service. That was a commission, advisory commission, and then I ran for city council in '98, I believe was the first time. They had about 14 candidates running, so I lost. I was 3rd or 4th place out of 14, kind of a, we like you, Stan, but not quite good enough to make the grade. I think in 2000 I ran again, and there were again big growth in Oakdale, a lot of excitement to serve. There were good 12, 13, 14 candidates. I moved up to 3rd place. But then a council person shortly thereafter moved out, and they used the tradition of appointing the next highest vote getter. That was me. And I replaced Raleigh Harrington, who moved back to South Dakota. So, and that was 2001. Got my foot in the door, got established. I think that people liked me, and then I was reelected in 2002 for for a full term. It was actually the remainder of that term, so it was 2 years, and then I was elected 3 other terms, and then Carmen decided to step down, and I really thought I was prepared to be mayor, and was fortunate enough to get a solid victory, a good support by the residents, and I'm honored and privileged to be their mayor. Big shoes to fill with Carmen.
So what was that experience like? You know, obviously you had run quite a few elections for city council and were successful a number of times, but you know, you're kind of putting yourself out there for a whole different role as mayor. Did you find it was more challenging running for that, or did you find that the experience you already had kind of really helped you?
The experience really helped, but yeah, there's nothing quite how to describe mayor. You are, you know, kind of the figurehead, the spokesman for the city. Granted, the other 4 council person are elected and highly regarded, so it's kind of being that consensus builder, I believe. Each council person has great ideals, so it's kind of making sure they're representing what they were elected for and getting their desires. They're a good read of the public, the voting public, the residents, and making sure we implement their ideals, but also I've got ideals I ran on, and I think together the 5 of us, council and myself as mayor, make a good team, but there's time and place where one person has to lead, and that's the role of the mayor, so I really look forward to that.
Now, what were some of the things, you know, those ideals you're talking about, what were some of those that you were, you know, running on, or, you know, going door to door telling people about?
Right. Well, I always like to put my things I'm going to work for on my literature, and I had 4 points of interest. One was identity and image of Oakdale, kind of the redevelopment, the vital business growth. Can we market ourselves better? The whole thing, marketing, not only the business, but why you'd want to live here, play here, raise a family, grow a business. So I'm working on that. The other one was with teen and seniors, kind of community engagement. So we're working right now on some teenage employment opportunities, things to get them trained for the real world, kids that may be in jeopardy of getting into trouble. I'd like to develop those concepts. Seniors would like to do outreach. We're going to be looking at how we can check in with our seniors, not only in the residential areas, but in these senior homes, to make sure they feel really valued by Oakdale. I think we do a good job, but it's a growing population. It's growing all over the U.S. You might as well embrace your seniors, and really I'd like to make it a place where we get senior programming that other cities look at Oakdale like, wow, that's a great place for seniors to live. Parks, I'm a big parks background person. There's an opportunity to perhaps do a park called the Priory. It's been on our radar screen. It's a big wetland area along Century Avenue. We could possibly collaborate with Maplewood to have kind of a regional park. They've got an equal amount of acres. I think we both have about 25 to 50 acres. You combine them, you'd have a wonderful park. Plus just park improvements in the neighborhoods. And then, you know, those were kind of the key areas.
Now, you know, you mentioned before, you know, it's important to, you know, for yourself and the council to be a team together. And for many years, you know, you had Mayor Sirac, and it seemed like the same four council members, one of them being yourself. And you also had the same city administrator, Craig Waldron, for a number of years. And now all of a sudden this year we have Craig, you know, had stepped down from his position to do teaching and things like that. Carmen decided not to run for re-election. So we have a new mayor, new city administrator, 2 new city council members. You know, do you think in the long run that'll be good for the city, having some new blood? I mean, obviously there was some great leadership, but, you know, I suppose it never hurts to mix things up a little bit.
Well, Carmen will go down as one of the best mayors anywhere, a very solid, honest guy. So that's a great, to try to live up to that standard, I plan to. But change is good. Change is exciting. Craig Waldron was also equally great. But now we just hired Bart Fisher, kind of up and coming city administrator, will bring fresh ideas. We've got 2 new council people, plus Lori Polkovic, who was re-elected, Paul Reinke, who's solid. And then we've got Bill Rasmussen, a seasoned senior that's got great ideals, been a great volunteer. We've got Kristen Cece, who's young and talented. So we've got really 2 women, 3 men on the council. We've got a greater mixture of age representation and gender representation. So that change is exciting. I'm new myself. I've been on council, but not in the mayor role. So I'm excited to work with everyone. I think we're all committed to making the Oakdale even a better city than what we're at. So I think the new blood, the new vitality, the new energy, I'm hoping we can make some improvements. I definitely plan to make improvements and keep Oakdale trending to becoming a better city each day, each year.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed in the past about Oakdale is, you know, it seems like the you know, council and mayor have always gotten along well. You don't really hear stories in the news of a lot of strife or really outrageous things happening at the council meetings. It seems like, you know, obviously people are going to have opinions and maybe disagree on things, but it seems like it's always done in a civil manner and people's opinions are listened to and respected.
Yeah, there's a high standard there of civility and professionalism, and, you know, I've stressed that. You know, I met one-on-one with the council, being the new mayor, to reassure them that I was going to be carry on some of the same traditions of Carmen, as treating everybody with respect, prompt meetings, courtesy. And then, you know, the philosophy that, yeah, you're going to have differences in workshops, differences on votes, but, you know, you have to put that behind you and look at the next vote, the next topic. You can't have it be a divisive thing. We've got a great tradition of making a professional decision, agree to disagree, move on, and try to work together on the next topic. And there's nothing wrong with a 3-2 vote, whether you lose or win. You know, sometimes the 3-2 vote a lot of times can be the best vote. You know, if you're smart and you're on the winning side of a 3-2 vote, you still incorporate some of the ideals of the people that are against the project. They've been voted on, they've been elected too, so they bring some good talents to the table. So again, differences are good, but you do want to be working collectively together, all with the same goal and mission of making a better Oakdale, you know, with priorities.
Great, and we just have a little bit of time here, like half a minute left or so. You know, what are, you know, some of the first things you hope to accomplish or achieve in your, you know, obviously you're you know, very early in your term here, but what are some things you're hoping to have happen here in the next half year or so?
Right. Probably 3 things come to mind. We hired the city administrator, so we've got a very talented person in place that'll bring new energy, Bart Fisher. Another thing will be the neighborhood revitalization. That is going to have crime prevention aspects to it, improving housing needs, property needs to clean up properties, park improvements, thinking forward a long-term program, but one that we're going to start this year that'll we think it'll make a difference. Kind of working, every neighborhood needs some attention. We want to make sure our neighborhoods get improved or maintained before they start going downhill. And I think it's just good to be ahead of the curve. Another thing we're going to be really on is kind of an employment survey, a wage study, for that we can properly pay our employees and properly reward them and properly place them in the right skill set. So it's been a long time in the making. We're kind of counsel people as a serious full part-time job, but we also have other jobs that are not professional in human resources, so it's good to go to an outside source and make sure your pay structure and keep our 100 city employees, you know, happy and, you know, professionally judged, for that we have a good path on how to compensate people.
Great.
And be competitive.
Great. That all sounds great. And unfortunately, we're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come talk with us today. And I'm sure we'll be chatting with you in the future and seeing you at some of the great events that go on throughout the year in Oakdale.
No, thank you.
Thanks a lot. And it's time for another short break. We'll be right back with more of Northeast Journal in just a minute.
Some of today's veterans have a new battle to fight. It's unemployment.
The unemployment rate of today's veterans coming home from war is 12%.
That's twice the Heartland average.
Tribute to the troops and the armed forces are asking for your help. Hire today's veteran.
Visit positivelyminnesota.com/veterans.
Welcome back to Northeast Journal. It's safe to say that White Bear Lake resident Roger Rust is a man of many talents. He's known to some as Rusty the Clown. To others, he's a magician. But on a recent Saturday morning, we got to meet Roger Rust, Ice Carver. Here's his story.
The Iceman Cometh. It's not just an award-winning play. It's what happened recently when ice carver Roger Rust brought his tools to Redeemer Lutheran Church on a Saturday morning.
We're doing a little ice carving exhibition and kind of a seminar for the friends and parishioners, and they bring their kids out and everybody gets to chop a little ice and have fun.
Rust has been carving ice creations for over 40 years now. For the last 3 years, he's been coming out to the Ice Block Party at Redeemer Lutheran Church in White Bear Lake. This year, he made animals, including a dolphin and a seahorse.
I've done them over the years, and so I can do them quickly, and what I decide to do is something that I know how to do pretty well. And that way I can go from start to finish in about 20 minutes, so people aren't standing and waiting and watching. They see it all happen all at one time. You get an outline so you know what to cut off, and then once you get it all blocked in, then you start rounding it off and put the detail in. Most of this can happen with a chainsaw, and if you really want a lot more detail, then I got a little die grinder that I can use and stuff like that.
What is it?
As long as they'll keep having him, Rust plans to return to Redeemer Church every winter for the Ice Block Party.
It's just fun to be out here with the people, and it's a wonderful event, and I hope it can continue and people enjoy it. And that's my reward, is to be able to help people just have fun doing something that they don't normally get to play with. You know, you get ice cubes, you know, and this is kind of nice. You can't go to a lake and chop out a block of ice, so it's really a nice event.
To learn more about Roger and his other talents, you can visit his website at therustyclipper.com. Now, besides ice carving and polar plunging, there's another way to enjoy time outside during the winter. Photojournalist Jeffrey Wilson has more in this report.
Deep into a Minnesota winter.
It's a little bit of a workout, so you can stay warm once you get going. So you can do this on skis or a snowboard, okay?
A group of people find joy on the icy tundra.
It's the only thing that makes winters in Minnesota tolerable for me.
Everything's cold.
Snow kiting.
Here we go.
Gives people an escape from the winter blues found during these short, cold winter days.
Cabin fever is a bad thing, so you want to get out and do something. A lot of people have skis in the wintertime. A lot of people have snowboards, ice skates. And all of these things are usable with a kite. And it's just a great way to extend that investment already and give yourself an opportunity to play.
Some use it to find calm.
So I enjoy the ride. It's really, really fun. It's an endless pursuit of entertainment. It's definitely a way for me to get off the grid and away from anything that's going on and just to get plugged into something. And there's a lot of ways to enjoy doing that. Rock climbing, snowmobiling, whatever your thing is. And I think a lot of us that enjoy kiting, we really find some sense of peace about doing this.
While others find excitement.
Basically, no trick is ever good until you get it caught on film, so no matter what you can do.
The ability to harness the wind and go out and ride and do things, and what draws most people, I think, to this sport is the ability to jump and do tricks and things like that. What's really amazing about kiting is that you don't need jumps or ramps or anything like that. You just send the kite and it'll lift you off the ice or water or whatever you happen to be on, and you can spin around and do tricks and hopefully land it, and you know, it's a lot of fun. It's always a challenge. There's always something new to learn.
Using any opportunity to get outdoors.
Pretty much whenever the wind blows. So I would say on average in the wintertime, I'm probably out at least once a week, probably 3 times a week.
To connect with people.
The kiting community is really a helpful community. Everybody helps each other, and at first I started learning this in Minnesota and thought, well, it's the Minnesota nice thing, right? But it's not. It's actually around the world.
You might want to drive it a little bit up into the wind.
And find happiness in the blowing snow.
When you find yourself out here and you're kiting on your own and you're just smiling to yourself, it's not political. You're not laughing at somebody that you work with, their joke. Just the pure joy.
That's all we have time for. Thanks for tuning in, and join us again next month for another edition of Northeast Journal.